The idea being that you can go camping out in the wild and keep it comfortable. You don't need to, freeze and just have to, break toothbrushes in half to try and save weight and hike into the forest and all that. So we're going to go through the features of the ideal camping spot, things to look for, things to avoid, things that are going to make it more comfortable, and some of the benefits versus sort of going to a commercial campsite where you would have to camp next to loads of other people. So why wild camp versus going to a commercial site where you'd have sort of maybe more facilities? Views, kind of when you unzip your tent in the morning, what you might see, wild camping versus commercial sites. Anybody? Louise? Any?
Yeah, I have been camping and I've been to commercial sites, and yeah, I think sometimes the view when you get from the wall can be a bit nasty. Like the leaks.
Yeah.
And they're not always situated in.
Yeah, I mean, you can either sort of see somebody you don't know
They're quite
reading a
close together
newspaper,
as well.
yeah,
Really close together.
and some people like to get up really early. Versus wild camping into your tent and wherever you decide to go, however picturesque, there it is. You shouldn't have anyone sort of banging in your tent for the night's rent money. Facilities, some people are a bit, you think you've got to go sort of squat like an animal out in the woods behind a rotting log somewhere. There are benefits to being able to just go to the toilet at a site. Views might not be as good, might not, generally they can be quite cold anyway. But you don't need to worry about someone else's mess. And if you're out in the woods, some people might think that, privacy might be an issue, but you're next to someone in a cubicle. So, any thoughts? Rafe?
It looks interesting. I've never done it myself, but talking about it now is already making me think about having a go one day, I think.
Okay, good. Goes with kids. I think some people might think, well, we can't go because we're going to be out in the woods, and what are the kids going to do? And they're moan about the cold and they're bored and whatever. If you go to a commercial site, there might be a steel and cement play area for them to go climb on, or they could just go out into the woods. If you want to swing, you take some rope, grab some sticks, make a swing. It's all about just using your imagination and kind of keeping yourself entertained, as they did a few hundred years ago. Camping lots. In England and Wales, it's not legal, but it's more of a trespassing lawsuit. If you wanted to go out and sort of just try and hide away somewhere for a night or two, you might just be asked to move on. Although you could be confronted by angry landowners or farmers if they get a bit annoyed. Dartmoor is completely legal, big open area. There are some of the areas are for military firing ranges, so check the times when they're going to be doing all that. Scotland is completely legal and really well accepted. That's generally where I've gone. Don't camp less than 100 meters from any public roads. And if you're near a dwelling, you ask permission. And what is the unwritten law of camping? Anyone?
University Hall.
Cycle, yeah.
Yeah. Basically, just don't be a nuisance. Take your litter, don't be loud, don't just sort of camp out in someone's back garden. That sort of thing. So what makes a good location? There is the kind of wild camping thing where you really rough it and you pack everything in a rucksack. You carry your own water and food and everything, and you just head off into the mountains. The way I prefer it is take the car, pack it full of all the comforts that you might need, and just go find a place where you can spend a good long while if you're going to go for a week or whatever, so you're not having to kind of set up and tear down daily. So, is it accessible by car, and is it close enough so that you can sort of carry things from the car to wherever you're going to set up? Is there a water source really important? If you're going to wash dishes, or if you want to bathe. Otherwise, you've got to carry all your water in that you might wash with the drink and all that. Are there trees or boulders or anything nearby that can kind of help shelter your camp from, if the wind picks up? Firewood would be important if you're going to have a fire. Make sure there's plenty of dead wood. Live wood doesn't burn so well, as you may know. Is there livestock nearby? Cows and calves, especially. Sheep aren't really too big a problem, but some cows can get a bit defensive of their calves. And I've heard stories about people getting trampled. So just be aware. And is the ground flat, so you're not having to sleep with a big lump in your back? Is it near a public footpath, or beauty spot where there's going to be loads of tourists sort of walking past your camp in the morning? And if you don't want to rough it the entire time, where's the nearest pub? Getting cold and wet, it's good to go have a bit of a break. And if it's within walking distance and you plan to go have a meal at night, take a torch. Go in the day, watch the sunset, and then be forced to sort of find your way back in the dark down rocky paths and things. Okay. You can go and just sort of have your tent and crouch down among some rocks. I like to be comfortable and be outdoors. Some ideas: you can go to an army surplus store, buy a parachute for about £30, and you can, if you hang it from a big tree from the center, put some windbreaks around it, but you're basically making yourself a yurt. So, and the smoke kind of goes up the top from where the hole is. It actually keeps it really warm. For those of you who don't know, these are carabiners. Really easy to tie a rope onto them, and then you can just easily clip things on and off. It's an inflatable sofa. You can just roll some rocks around and have that be your seating area. It gets a little uncomfortable after a while. If you're taking a car, you can get an electric pump, air it up, slot it in, and there you go. And although it says not to, you can use it as a raft. So I've got photos. So around the campfire, really comfy, or if you're feeling brave, don't sort of like go down the loch and expect to sail back. Fire, always make sure that it's not a dry area so you don't burn down the entire forest. Fire lighters, little cubes that you can stick, they catch really easily. There's no need to sit there with like flint and all that. Lighter fluid that you use to start a barbecue really helps get things going. So just start small with some dry twigs, and then add some dry wood as you go. If it's rained recently, if all the wood on the ground is wet, generally there's loads of dead branches and trees, so you just need to whack them down, and they'll be the driest things around. And of course, make a nice little stone circle, especially if you're trying to trying to cook over your campfire. You can put a barbecue grill over the top. Right. If you're camping off out into the woods, hiking, whatever, you have to really compact all your food. You have to sort of get the NASA space powders and try to mix the water and get out of the bag. If you're staying in one spot and you're taking a car, you can sort of go shopping locally and get meats, cheese, and anything else you might want. Get a double stove. Generally keeps the ash from the fire from getting on it. That's a better way to go. You'll want a nice big pot if you're cooking for more than two people. To keep your food cool, get a cool box. You can either sink it into a stream, put some rocks in it so it doesn't float off, And be sure to tie it to a tree or something in case it floats away with all your food. Or you can dig a hole in the ground and sneak it down in there, and the ground will actually help to keep it cold, and your food should stay good for a couple of days. Head torches are really good for when you're trying to do things at night. Instead of trying to hold the torch, it's on your head. You can just aim it where you want to, and it's always going to be in your line of sight. LED lamps are good, and gas lanterns, which are a bit more expensive but very, very bright, so your whole camp will be illuminated. Toilet. As I said, you don't need to go squat out in the woods somewhere. If you take a portable toilet, 70 paces from camp or water source, they don't contaminate the groundwater. Take a spade, dig a nice deep hole, depending on how long you plan to stay. It's a good idea to sort of throw dirt back in it after each use, just to keep things covered. If you take a bit of rope, stretch it over the top, and you can hang a tarp or mosquito net over that in case it's raining, or you're somewhere where you're being attacked by midges or mosquitoes or whatever, and then you can just calmly look out and view. And if you're feeling creative, you can even